transcribing it. And before we get into sort of hearing more about your story and interviewing you, I'd love to tell you guys a little bit about me. I work at Heart Quarters in Vancouver, and I just joined the team about 4 months ago, originally with the Vancouver franchise, doing all things community engagement. And now I've just, been helping out with various marketing initiatives for Heart Quarter. And a little bit about this interview is Susan and Paul and the team thought it would be great to do a franchise spotlight every month that will be shared in What's New. And you guys are actually going to be the first franchise spotlight, which is exciting. You came to mind right away. Paul was like, "Oh, I know who to ask." Like franchise partners, they really rock the brand and they're really engaged in the community. So I'm really excited to be chatting with you guys today and hearing a little bit more about your story.
Well, thank you, Devin.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Sounds great. All right, so we only have 30 minutes, so let's just get into it. To start off, could you both introduce yourselves and share how long you've been with Nurse Next Door?
Yeah, my name is Bret Freeman. I have been with Nurse Next Door. We launched in May of 2024, but we were with Nurse Next Door doing a lot of planning long before that. So I'd say I probably joined maybe mid 2023 to start planning and getting everything ready and kind of going through the whole process.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Timothy Hembry. I'm the administrator here at Nurse Next Door Pinellas, and I'm one of the co-founders with Bret, so I started from the beginning.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And I mean, we all have those "what have I gotten myself into" moments, and especially, I hear that a lot. When starting, a franchise or really taking on any new endeavor, whether it's business or personal. And so I'd love to just dive in and hear a little bit more about your early challenges and if you've had any of those "what have I gotten myself into" moments.
I can think of one that kind of comes to mind. It was really when we got our first client. We didn't really, it was hard to figure out, like, how do you get the caregivers if you don't have the client, and so we managed to get a caregiver. But then we got the client, and the client wanted services that were, we didn't know anything about shift and how to do that. So basically we tried to get the caregiver to take the shift. It wasn't something that she wanted to do, and she was the only caregiver that we had. And so talk about what did I get myself into? The client still needed the service. And so I myself put on, what we need to put on, got branded, and I went up and did all of the services myself. I quickly realized why we don't do 12 midnight to 3 a.m. shifts. I did that, and we realized that we will not be doing that again. It will be an overnight shift. So I learned a lot, and I did really realize what did I get myself into. But after that, we certainly made sure that we had a full stock group of caregivers that would be able to, to work our available clients. So that was a learning experience, and it was definitely a "what have I gotten myself into" moment. But we made it work, and we provided good care, and
For sure. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely, living the experience yourself and having to work those shifts. I'm sure it was a big learning opportunity. And what about you, Tim? Any ones that stand out to you?
Yeah, so I've been in healthcare for some time, as a physician in the hospital setting. And so I was really excited to get involved in home care. Basically, because we see a lot of, repeat readmissions and things of that nature when people actually fell in the home. So we're super excited about that aspect of it. But, when I was named the director of nursing for Nurse Next Door, having little to zero experience as a nurse, actually no experience as a nurse, I said, "Oh my God, what have I gotten myself into?" So as we grow, it's just been a huge learning experience, and also, we're new entrepreneurs. It's not like we've started multiple businesses. So, recognizing that when you start, things start slowly and they go at their own pace. And sometimes you want things to go faster. than they do. So that was kind of, especially in the beginning. So we're kind of cooking now, which is really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. And just to follow up with sort of those what have I gotten myself into moments that you guys have had in your journey, is there anything specifically that sort of helped you get through those challenges other than, just time and learning, whether it be a resource from the system at Nurse Next Door or, reaching out for support or sort of, what has helped you guys navigate those challenges?
Well, I mean, so I think it's all of the above, right? I mean, I think the one thing that it's really, I mean, many things that are great about Nurse Next Door, but I mean, the fact that you do have resources to reach out to and to ask for some support and some guidance. I think for me, the thing that's kind of gotten us through those, because there's a lot of those. I mean, you can have a what have I got myself into moment on a daily basis with a new business, especially in home care, because, a caregiver might call out and then you have, a client and, I just literally, I mean, so it happens a lot. And I think it's grit. It's making sure that you understand that, you can do what you can do and really, really try to drive the business and try to, have good caregivers and try to provide a good product, and just ultimately continue to come in every single day and continue to do what you need to do, so that the business, you can build a business that we're proud of, and a business that actually serves the public and serves the community in the way that we promised. So I think that's the thing that really kind of gets you through, is understanding what we're doing and why we're doing it.
For sure.
Yeah, I would say in a very similar way, it's persistence, it's consistency, it's pushing that rock up the hill, right? Even when you don't want to, and even when you're kind of, discouraged, and that happens, from time to time. So I think you just keep going, but also like, from another perspective, like prayer and meditation, like, get centered, realize that there's going to be things that come up that scare you, and that's okay, and just trying to stay in that space where we understand that we're learning and we're growing and all those sort of things.
For sure. I feel like I'm absorbing good advice from both of you right now. I start my career too, definitely. Yeah, grit and staying grounded is so important, whatever stage of your journey you're on. So absolutely. That's great to hear. And another thing I wanted to ask you guys about was, well, I see this nice mural wall behind you guys and, the great job that you have done diving into the brand. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about how have you and your team sort of amplified Nurse Next Door in your community, and sort of were there any specific initiatives or strategies that have been, the most effective in building that awareness and connection in your community?
Well, there's a number of things that we do. First of all, I mean, the brand is so catchy. It's really easy to work with. All you have to have is a little bit of creativity. And it's a really easy brand to work with. I mean, we hired a muralist and we showed her what we had to work with, and we gave her an idea and kind of let her go crazy in our office, and we have a beautiful office, and much the same thing with some of our marketing collateral, the stuff that we've developed ourselves. We hired some individuals that had some specific skills, showed them what we had to work with, and designed some stuff. And so how we leverage the brand, we actually have, because we are a premium brand, we really do try to play off the fact that we are premium. We do things that other home care companies don't do. And so we really advertise that and market that. We have starting relationships with concierge medical practices, that their clients are used to a much higher level of service. And so we're being marketed and positioned to them. And having a brand like Nurse Next Door that is premium is a really, really good fit. We also we've sponsored a Thanksgiving Day dinner, actually. It was beautiful. We had I'd say 40 to 60 people.
Wow.
We sponsored all the food and the decorations and everything, and it was really, really nice. And so we do a lot of things in the community. We have a booth at Pride every year. Eventually we'll probably walk in the parade, because
Awesome.
we are an organization that we provide care to anyone. And we hold ourselves out as an organization that's willing to and able to meet the needs of anybody in the community. So that's really kind of how we just make sure that everybody knows that that's who Nurse Next Door is. And we try to position ourselves with good partners so that we can kind of keep the good news of happier aging and Nurse Next Door going in the community.
I love that. That's so exciting. And now you're sparking my ideas on the Vancouver Pride Parade as well, and just envisioning a Nurse Next Door float, like how bright and bold that could be with our branding. So lots of great ideas, and great to hear what you guys are doing over there with your franchise. And what about you, Tim? Did you have anything that stood out to you that you wanted to add?
Sure. I think it's just community involvement. Like we've showed up for our community, and we've showed up for other people's events, and we co-sponsored an ALS event here in town, and just really showing up. And even though you may not think that it's going to drive your business, ultimately people remember. They remember how you showed up and for them, and I think that's really important. The other thing I would say is when we first had our Mini Cooper wrapped in Nurse Next Door, it's an eye catcher, right? Like people notice when you're driving around in that, and it was just fun to drive the car and watch people look at it and smile, and I think we show up like this, we show up in
a lot
pink suit. We have full pink suits, and people are like, wow, So I think that's a big part of it.
And our staff also, I mean, we're buying a machine called a Cricut, but basically we can reproduce kind of the logo, the brand, like on a t-shirt. And so, so we can, make kind of custom clothing. We actually have the embroidery label. We're going to make custom embroidery clothing so that we can really expand the brand and really make it personal, not just to the two of us, but to all of our employees, our office employees that are out representing the brand as well. So yeah, we really are taking the brand and running with it as much.
That's great. Yeah. So you're sort of able to make like custom collateral merchandise with your own tools.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. For example, we're doing an expo, a senior expo on February 13th. And it's in conjunction with a magazine that we advertise in. But in addition to advertising in the senior magazine, which is our ads are amazing and they're unique. We also get the opportunity to attend these expos. So one of the things you do at the expos is you get their information because you do a raffle prize. So we always do like a basket. And because we're Nurse Next Door, we're pink, we're hearts everywhere. It's Valentine's Day. We're going to do a big basket. I'm not exactly sure what the theme is, but it's going to be Valentine's Day theme. It's going to have a lot of fun stuff in it, lots of pink stuff. Maybe, who knows, maybe some wine goblets with the logo on it, and maybe a bottle of wine and a basket with some meat and cheese. Who knows, something like that. But it'll be something big. It'll be something branded. It'll be something unique and special. And so everybody that comes to a future event will be like, I want that Nurse Next Door prize. I want that Nurse Next Door. So we really do try to play up the collateral and everything that we have to work with.
That's awesome. Yeah, really embrace the pink, get the pink suits, have that gift basket, be in that parade. That's great to hear, and definitely very memorable. I also wanted to ask if you could give one piece of advice to another franchise partner. It could be anything, whether it's, like we talked about, something getting out in the community related, or something more personal, working through those, what have I gotten myself into moments. Could be anything, but what advice would you give to another franchise partner?
I think for me, and, I think the most important thing that I would have to say would be make sure that you have adequate funding in the beginning, because, you're starting a brand new business, and it's expensive in the beginning. It's really, especially if you're going to hire people and build out a team, which you're eventually going to have to do. If you have any success, you're not going to be able to do it yourself. So make sure that you're adequately funded. Make sure that you get a real good sense on what is it going to cost, and then even have more than that. Because the last thing you want to do is get a business running and then run out of money before it even begins to break even. So I think that's the most important thing, is make sure you have adequate funding to give yourself the best chance of success.
Right. And yeah, definitely initial investment overhead is definitely, you got to be prepared. My brother, he's actually wanting to be a franchise partner and looking at different businesses, and he's 27. So I was telling him, oh, you should look at Nurse Next Door. Like that would be fun. You know, I work here, you could be a franchise partner. But he's like, no, I need to be really stable before I could invest in something that's, you know, so grand and like great, like Nurse Next Door. So for sure, good advice. And as we're sort of halfway through our interview now, I want to pivot and get into some of your stories with your clients. Do you have a happier aging story that comes to mind? A favorite one? I know there's probably lots, but a favorite one.
Yeah, so I would say it's a happier aging story. We actually supported one of our clients that was on hospice, and older gentleman that actually lived in his home, the home that he wanted to stay in, and his family ultimately wanted him to die in. So we were able to be there for him, and I think there was happier aging gems. Like our caregiver was amazing with this guy, and when we first took on the client, we thought he was imminent, that he wouldn't be with us, but he actually lived another 6 months and actually started to get better, as we started to spend time with him and those sort of things. But he was a big basketball fan. And so our caregiver bought a Nerf basketball and brought a clothes basket and would play basketball with him and that sort of stuff. And that was enough. Like he was at the end of his life, but we made sure he was clean. We made sure he died with dignity. And I think that is a happier aging gem, if you ask me.
For sure.
Yeah. And I guess, I don't know if you would consider this a happier aging gem, but it's definitely one of the ways that we share our talent as caring and that we really stand up to our core values. We had a client that came to us. The children live out of state, and they were concerned about their mother. The week that we started to see her, she had been hospitalized 3 times in 1 week, largely for confusion. The neighbors would find her, and then they would just basically call an ambulance and send her to the hospital. So, but she's physically healthy. She just has a little cognitive decline and gets a little confused. And so they want her to remain independent as long as possible. And so when we got involved in the case, she was less than receptive, we'll say. And it was a little bit of a difficult client. But remember, I said that we do the things that a lot of other home care companies don't do. And so we started doing our visits. We got her to accept us. The kids were very appreciative of that. And we do nursing visits, and we also do caregiving visits. And we visit her every single day of the week because that's the level of care that she needs. When we started visiting her, at one point, we went to go visit her, and she wasn't there. But remember, we have visited her a number of times, so we've taken her out to a variety of different, so we know her haunts. Mm-hmm. And so we went looking for her, and we found her. And she was having a moment where she was at the car dealership trying to plan to go on a trip. So we were able to get her back home, get her safe, and that hasn't happened again since. We see her every single day. She is very, very happy about going out for her visits around town with her caregiver, her friends, she calls it. So her friends come and pick her up every day, and they take her everywhere that she needs to go. And here's the thing: the siblings that both live out of state, they get regular reports. They have peace of mind. They can rest easily. She's no longer in and out of the hospital 3 times in 1 week. She's happy, safe, staying at home, and we have a dedicated client. And so it's a win-win situation where we absolutely are making not just her life better, but the lives of her extended family as well. So her happier aging gem is she likes to run around town and just do errands. And we became the people that gave the opportunity for her to continue to do that and live independently.
I love that. And I love that she thinks of you guys as her friends.
Yeah.
To hang out with the friends.
Every day she has one of her friends that comes by.
That's awesome. I love that. And I think, yeah, for sure, you touched on a huge point of, it's not just about the client, it's the peace of mind that the family gets from that. That makes such a huge impact on, a lot of clients that we get to serve. And so that's great to hear. And we got 10 minutes left, so I'm going to wrap it up to sort of our final question here is, what is your biggest, boldest goal for your franchise this year? So no limits, dream big, and beyond business as well. What's a bold goal for your life? After all, work and life, it's all, we want to keep it one. You bring your full self to work. So maybe a little bit about the franchise and a little bit about yourself would be great.
Sure.
You go ahead.
Big bold goals, love it. So we definitely have some financial goals for the business. Like Bret said, we launched in May. We wanted to get out of the red. That was a big goal, right? And we've done that. So we're really happy that we've been working hard and growing and those sort of things. So we definitely have some financial targets. And a big thing this year is we're working to get Medicare certified, and right now we're focused on the home care side of the business, but we'll be focusing also on home health, which in the US is a big component of what actually our payer systems will pay for in the US. So it helps a lot from that perspective. So those are some big things for this year.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think, really just to continue growing organically, to continue creating a workplace where our caregivers feel appreciated, valued, respected, and where our clients feel like they're getting good value for the money that they're paying. So I mean, I think that's the goal, is to create something and to continue to sustain something that we're proud of. That provides a good service, that respects its caregivers, and is bold and trying to corner the home care market in the Bay Area.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that is all the questions that I have for you guys on this interview. But I did want to sort of wrap the interview up by having either Bret or Tim going first and just saying like, "Hi, I'm Bret," and then Tim can go, "Hi, I'm Tim," and then at the same time say, "This is our franchise spotlight interview."
Okay.
Do you think you guys can do it?
We can do it.
So then I'll, edit it together, and I'm going to make every franchise partner who I interview sort of end with this intro or outro. So, I mean, the meeting's recording whenever you want to go. If Bret, you want to go, and then Tim, and together, this is our franchise spotlight interview.
Hi there, I'm Bret.
Hi, I'm Tim.
And this is our franchise spotlight interview.
Oh, it's perfect. You guys got it perfect on the first try. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you guys and hearing a little bit about your story, and even, picking out pieces of advice for myself that will help me in my role here in Vancouver. And
there is one question that you skipped that I would have really liked to answer.
Oh, which question?
It says, if Nurse Next Door gave you a magic wand to erase one challenge overnight, what would it be?
Oh, okay. Well, we can do it.
I've got to answer that. You got to ask me that question. Let me answer.
Okay, let me ask you the question.
Okay.
Okay, ready. We'll backtrack. Pretend we didn't do the outro yet.
Okay.
So, if Nurse Next Door gave you a magic wand to erase one challenge overnight, what would it be?
Hands down, it would be the difficulty that is associated with hiring and retaining good quality caregivers. We have some really good ones, but you really work really, really hard to find good ones that have good availability and willing to take on clients. We thought finding good clients would be the big pain point. And don't get me wrong, finding the good clients it's work as well. But if we had a magic wand to solve the caregiver challenges that we have, that would be it.
For sure. That's a good answer. And caregivers, at the heart of our business, it's
It is
very important to have, enough of them and great ones that you can retain. So definitely, I think a common challenge that is shared among the franchise partners for sure. And before we, step away from that question, I'd love to ask you, how are you working on the challenge? Is there anything that sort of helps you in your hiring or retention journey, or things that have been working for you in that area?
Yeah, I think, you know, when we interview candidates, we bring them into our big, beautiful office and people but we really stress that we're different than a lot of home care companies and we really care about them and we try to help them through their difficulties. You know, we're a very open and inclusive environment and we make sure that our caregivers feel the same way and that they know that they can bring their whole self to work as well. So I think, you know, we had a Christmas party for our caregivers this year and everybody had a great time, but really showing that we're a family business and they're all part of the family.
That's awesome. Great, both great answers.
Yeah,
And
nothing more to be said on that one. That was
nothing more to be said. That was
you know, it just
perfect.
dropped the mic and walk away.
Yeah. Mic drop. That's awesome.
Well, Devin, it was really fun doing this with you. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. I will be in touch with a copy of the video if you guys would like to use it for your socials or anything that you're doing. And yeah, look forward to hopefully chatting again sometime soon.
Absolutely.
Sounds awesome,
Thanks,
Devin.
Devin.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.